All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Saturday morning and I'm going live because I've got some fun stuff that I want to share with you. I am trying something new this morning because I am live streaming to Instagram. I think I'm live streaming to Instagram. That's why the video is in a vertical format. I'm also live streaming to my Facebook page, both my personal page and the Art Pastor page. This is a big week because I've changed my branding, if you will, from a cartoonist guide to the Bible to the Art Pastor. Because Cartoonist Guide to the Bible is still there, but it is just one of the things that I do as the Art Pastor. And so I thought what I'd like to do in this video is just share a couple things, because tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow is Pentecost. It is the day that we celebrate the pouring of the Holy Spirit out on Jesus' disciples in the city of Jerusalem on the day of Pentecost. And so I want to do two things for you in this video. First, I want to walk you through some visual resources that will help you both to study and to present the day of Pentecost, whether you're a preacher or you're a teacher. So I've got all kinds of great stuff right here on the Art Pastor's Guide to Pentecost. And you can actually, I'm going to copy that link and I'm going to put that right in the chat. So you can go to this if you want and check it out. And also I can see the chat if you want to leave me a little message if you happen to be jumping on this live. I know I just sprung this on everybody, so I don't expect anybody to necessarily be there, but if you are, let me know that you're watching. That'd be pretty cool. So here's what we want to do. And on the Art Pastor's Guide to Pentecost, the first thing you got here is it's 2 pages of a cartoonist guide to Acts, which is the graphic novel that I illustrated last year. And it just so happens that on the day of Pentecost, which was a huge Jewish feast day where Jewish people from all over the Roman Empire would come to Jerusalem on this day. It's called Pentecost because that's the Greek word for 50 days after Passover. And it was a harvest festival, a spring harvest. It was a spring feast day. And it also came to be associated with the giving of the law to Moses on Mount Sinai way back in the book of Exodus. And so Jesus' disciples were in Jerusalem because he had just told them to wait for him when they would receive power when the Holy Spirit came upon them. And this is the moment that it happened. You can see they're in this room, and all of a sudden it says that the Spirit comes upon them and like a mighty rushing wind, and it shook the room, shook the house. And then it said that divided tongues like tongues of fire rested upon each one of them. And then they were able to speak in tongues that they hadn't studied. And the people are like, whoa, what's going on? Aren't these just plain old Galileans, like commoners from the North Country, fishermen? And how are we hearing them in our own language? It's an amazing thing. Some thought it was amazing. Some thought they were drunk. So Peter gets up in front of the crowd and he's like, look, we're not drunk. It's only 9 a.m. What are you talking about? But what you're experiencing right now is a fulfillment of the prophecy of Joel, where Joel the prophet, hundreds of years before, said that the Holy Spirit of God would be poured out on people. And everybody would have the Spirit, young and old, male and female, slaves and free. And the Spirit is just given as this amazing gift. And that's pretty cool. And then the rest of this chapter 2 talks about how the people reacted to it. Some people decided to become followers of Jesus as their Jewish Messiah. And the church spread, and there were signs and wonders, and they shared everything in common. It was beautiful. So that's the graphic novel pages. I got this YouTube video. Actually, I'll share that in in the chat as well. Here's a link to that YouTube video if you want to check that out. You can actually play this video in your worship services. This is just an actual reading of the New Revised Standard Version of the text. I also have this PowerPoint where you can walk through the story panel by panel, just like I did. And you can use that however you want. Just click here, download it. Pretty awesome. And then I've got some stuff about Pentecost. I got this cool visual timeline to show that the first Pentecost happened like almost 2,000 years before the Pentecost in the book of Acts. And then I've got some other links to related topics, like got a whole bunch of Art Pastor's Guide to the Holy Spirit. And if you happen to be a narrative lectionary preacher, I've got this animated video that I made a few years ago that is a reading of 1 Corinthians 12, which is where the Apostle Paul talks about the gifts of the Spirit and how it's like being parts of a body. And it's a fun animated video that you can play. And it's just a reading of that text from Eugene Peterson's The Message. So there you go. Now, the other thing I want to do, hold on just a second, because I'm going to get super big in the screen. There we go. Because I want to do a little drawing today. So I thought another way that I could just celebrate this moment is by doing a quick little sketch. I'm going to show you just, I'm drawing in Photoshop, and I just want to show you how I sketched out that that Tongues of Fire image. So I'm probably gonna not talk so much anymore. Somebody would be like, yeah, that's great, thanks. So just have fun. I love to draw, and I'm gonna draw just what an image of what I think it may have been like for those first disciples. The first thing I do when I'm drawing is just do a rough sketch. Let me turn up the music a little bit. Yeah. So I'll make a new layer. Make this layer down just a little bit. And with that as my guide, I can come in and do like a nice dark line. Kind of looking up his nostril. His mouth gaping open. Make my brush a little bigger so I can get some really nice darks in there. Kind of imagining this as Peter, which is why I'm making it a very specific male. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. All right, now what I want to do is put a layer under this and put in a kind of a base. Just like a base flesh color. Put in some local color like that. Darken up his hair. Like that. And then what I think I'm going to do is put another layer. Make this brush really big because I want to put some dark contrasting with a dark blue background. Super quick. And then just put a layer. I'm going to make this layer to set as multiply. And I'm going to choose an airbrush. And then if I choose the local color, and if I'm on multiply, then what will happen is, not darken, multiply. It'll let me do some shading without damaging the drawing. Now if I make this darker, then I can get some darker shading in there. And I have a lot of shadow under his head because he's got that dark beard, right? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer that has the flame. So let's get this flame going right here. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So I'm just putting a base, like a base shape. And then maybe I'll put just some lighter in the middle there. Throw some oranges in around the edge. Make those a little bit more intense. Oop, that's too much. Ah, that's good. That's good. Okay. So there's my flame. And what I want to do with this layer is I'm just going to blur it just a little bit. Ooh, that's a lot. I gotta come up here. And maybe not quite that much of a blur, just a little bit of a blur. and maybe just a little bit of a transparency. I don't think I need transparency. And now I'm actually going to duplicate this layer and then turn it into add, and then do that filter again where I multiply it. And check this out. This is going to be cool. That gives it a little bit of a glow. Like that. And then also, I'm going to add another layer that is an overlay layer. I'm going to come back to my airbrush and I'm going to choose this color. And then I'm going to do overlay like this. And this is where you can start getting some cool lighting effects. Probably put some down here too. Make a light. And now, because the overlay doesn't like to go over top of black, I'm also going to do just a standard let's do that. So you get the highlight right on his eye. And then you can also do room lighting like that. And I want to go back to my add and let's just put some atmosphere here. There you go. Yeah, that was just a fun little drawing to try to get things going for Pentecost. And hey, thanks for watching. And if you're watching this later in the day, happy Pentecost, everybody.